It took Jens Recker 6 months and $12,000 to convert his Ford Courier into an electric vehicle. But it was a simple video that sparked the idea.
I watched a video called Who Killed the Electric Car? It was about an electric car in the United States, but in one section in there, it was this mechanic saying, I take people's petrol cars, convert them to electric, and they run around on batteries. And it was such a neat idea, I decided to look further into it on the internet and found lots and lots of information on how to convert.
According to Mr. Recker, the process of the conversion is actually quite simple.
The petrol motor and the radiator and fuel tank and all of that and the exhaust, that goes. And so with the space that it leaves behind, you put an electric motor, so a forklift motor style of things onto the gearbox, a controller for controlling the power from the accelerator, and then a battery pack which sits in the back and the front of the ute, which is the energy storage which allows you to travel around town.
But it can be a daunting task, especially if you're doing it for the first time.
It was a bit of a leap of faith that it was going to work for me. I was a very, very relieved man when it eventually did start running around. You know, I was grinning from ear to ear. I wanted to see if it was feasible, if it was possible, and I had enough certainty that I would get at least something of a vehicle back again. But it was a difficult moment when I took the petrol motor out and threw it away.
Making the conversion is a big step, but it does have both benefits and drawbacks.
The pros is that you're completely independent of fuel. You don't need to ever go and pull into a service station again. And that means you're not making any emissions of CO2 or particulates or anything like that, so it's the green alternative. The cons are the range. It's really just for around town. That 40-50 k's around town is the limit. You want to go out of town, you've got to look at different methods. It's taken all of my free time during the conversion process, so I've become a pretty boring person. But it's given me a very different perspective on things. It's made me a much more efficient petrol driver around town because I see the really direct relationship between how you drive and what energy it takes to drive. And it's made me a more energy efficient person.
With this in mind, Mr. Recker has some advice for those wishing to convert their own vehicle.
Be very careful in your choice as to what you can realistically get out of it. It will take all of your spare time, a lot of your money, and at the moment it's probably a fairly expensive way to get around town.